Hey guys, my name's Paul. It is currently the 14th of February 2021, and about 48 hours ago I was diagnosed with CDIP. I'd been previously diagnosed with GBS I think it was about 8-9 months ago. I'd been given treatment and I figured, well, I was told that I would get better, sort of 6 to 12 months. But yeah, I've been recently diagnosed with CDIP. It's quite a lot to take in, but my plan is to make a video diary and yeah, just see how it goes. I mean, there's a small, well, 30% chance, according to the statistics, that I could make a full recovery from it, but might be something that affects me for the rest of my life. So I want to record. Maybe it'll help someone else out there. Cheers. So I want to talk about my initial GBS, the symptoms I had. It started off as a tingling in my hands. My hands would get numb and tingly, and then there was a pain. I used to get this pain in my cheeks. It's still there a bit, but the very first thing I noticed with the GBS, or suspected GBS, was when I would lean on my hand, like you might do normally, it would just be incredibly painful. So I thought it was, problem with my tooth, problem with my jaw, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was the nerves in my cheeks that were being affected there. This kind of carried on for a few weeks, and then I got numbness in my feet, especially when I was walking. I used to walk long distances, like up to 10 miles at a time, and yeah, my feet would sort of feel like blocks of ice. They'd be kind of numb. I didn't really have any weakness at that point, but all my muscles were starting to ache. I'm not sure if it was muscles or what, but they were painful. I assume it was the nerves, but it was just a lot of pain, and there were certain things I couldn't do. I couldn't stretch my muscles how I would normally. Just even getting close to doing some of the stretches, especially like the hamstring stretch, and other ones, it would just be incredibly painful. I just couldn't do it. So then that progressed, and I ended up getting sort of weakness in the thighs, which I noticed when I was sort of walking upstairs. And yeah, that was the first weakness I noticed. Yeah, and I was just getting all kinds of pains. I had jaw pain, like if I was to yawn and stretch my jaw out, it would be incredibly painful. I was getting back pain, and yeah, pain stretching muscles, and yeah, it was incredibly difficult to get out of bed. It was just an ordeal. The other things I noticed were I needed to go to the loo very much more regularly. It often felt like my bladder was full, and yeah, so those are the initial GBS symptoms I had. So in the diagnosis and treatment, I suspected various things. I suspected Lyme disease, amongst other things. I was doing a lot of Googling and getting very worried. I also suspected it was possibly ALS, and I also did come across GBS in my research. And so I ended up going to A&E, which is the British equivalent of the emergency room, and I went 3 times all in all. I'd called my doctor several times. This was just after the pandemic had started, so I couldn't be seen in person. And the only thing he could offer for me was to send me to A&E, or to say go to A&E and tell them your symptoms. So I did that. The first time, they just said there's nothing wrong with you, go, which was quite disheartening. Second time I went, I don't really remember what happened. I mean, I think they took me more seriously, but at the end it was sort of, they just discharged me. And the third time I went in, and it was maybe 10 days after the first time, and the doctor there sort of said she thought it was GBS, after sort of testing me, testing my muscle strength and this kind of thing and balance. And I was admitted. I saw a neurologist a couple of days later. He diagnosed me sort of instantly, pretty much after seeing me for about 5 minutes. He said, "Yeah, that's GBS. You need IVIG, immunoglobulins, 5-day course." So I stayed in hospital. I was in there for a week. Had 5 nights on a drip with immunoglobulins, and I left the next day. Still very unsteady on my feet. So during this time, things have progressed. The initial sort of weakness going upstairs just got worse and worse until it was quite difficult to walk at around its peak, which was when I was in hospital. I got discharged, and I slowly recovered health, slowly recovered strength and endurance. A lot of the pains went after a couple of months, I'd say. 2 or 3 months. I was still getting numbness, tingling in my hands, and my legs. Still, very difficult stretching in certain positions and painful. But that gradually went over the course of maybe 3 or 4 months, and I still had the weakness, some of it, but I was a lot stronger. There was pretty much no more pain, and things were good. I was told when I was diagnosed and when I left hospital that they reckoned it would be something like 6 to 12 months, and I'd make a full recovery. I had a few follow-ups with the neurologist, not in person, but over the phone, and he said from what I was telling him that I was making good progress, and he actually discharged me from his care a couple of months ago. So the recovery and relapse, I've just covered the recovery there. At Christmas, about 6 weeks ago, 6-7 weeks ago, I went on a couple of long walks with my family at a brisk pace, and I could keep up, unless we were going up a hill, in which case I sort of fell behind. They had to wait for me, but generally on a flat, even surface, I could keep up with, a normal brisk walking pace. And so, then the relapse, the last couple of months I haven't felt right. Maybe the last 6 weeks or something. I felt okay at Christmas, but the first thing I think I noticed was just fatigue. I felt tired all the time, lethargic, and I kind of put this down to a lack of fitness, a lack of too much, because it's winter, and I spent a lot of time just sat around, not really exercising. And I just put it down to that. I'm out of shape. But I was getting pretty fatigued. I had a bit of sort of brain fog, and then I'd say about a month ago, I just got this quite acute relapse in both hands, but especially my left hand. I just didn't have any strength in it. I couldn't bend sort of my fingers independently of each other, and it lasted about 5 days, maybe a week. Just this sort of real weakness reappearing in my left hand. So that went away, and it just sort of got better on its own. But recently I'd say the last sort of couple of months or 6 weeks, I've felt a bit less steady on my feet. Maybe a bit of weakness coming back in, but 12 days ago was when I really noticed it. I was really struggling with my balance, struggling with power in my legs. And the thing is, a lot of power has come back in certain ways. Like before, I couldn't stand up from a crouching position at all. It was so difficult because I'd sort of hang on to something, and try and sort of crouch down and stand up, and it was really difficult. But recently, I got that strength back in my thighs to sort of be able to do that if I'm holding on to something. Um, but what's happened is sort of my balance, my sort of, I guess, fine motor skills are just kind of gone. And I was getting a lot more fatigued. If I was sort of in using my legs, they'd sort of feel shaky and wobbly. This was about a couple of weeks ago. And then 11 days ago, I started getting double vision. I was driving at night, and it was raining, and there was lights, and I just felt a bit like I was spinning out. I couldn't focus that well. And I just put it down to too much time in front of the computer, I'll be fine. But that just kind of persisted up until the point on Saturday, when I decided, right, I'm going to go to the opticians. So I went to the opticians, they tested my eyes, they say your eyesight's fine, we can't find anything wrong with it. So I went, I called the sort of out of hours non-emergency medical number we have in the UK, 111, and they advised me to go to A&E again. So I did that. They did two MRIs, not MRIs, CT scans of my brain, and basically ruled out it being a stroke or blood clot or something like that. And then I was discharged the next day, and they told me that I'd have a follow-up the day after that with a neurologist, which didn't materialise. I tried ringing them, and they said it was something like a 12-day waiting time just to get a phone appointment. So the following day after that, which was I think 5 days ago now, I went back to A&E, and luckily I saw a good doctor, and who had actually recovered from GBS herself, and she admitted me, and I saw a neurologist, and he suspected it was a different variant of GBS called Miller-Fisher variant. So I was kept in, saw various doctors, two other neurologists as well, and they did several tests. I did an MRI scan. They were trying to rule out MS, and I think they pretty much did that. There wasn't any inflammation on the nerves in my brain stem, which is, I think, what they were looking for. And yes, eventually, so yeah, the two final tests I did were the MRI scan and a lumbar puncture. So the lumbar puncture came back with increased protein in my cerebrospinal fluid, and so basically the doctor came in and he said, it's highly likely it's CIDP, which I was kind of expecting, because I'd done like a load of reading of WebMD and various other things while I was in hospital, so I was kind of prepared for it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I am now waiting another 5 days to see a neurologist who, this is her area of expertise. She specialises in CIDP, and then in theory, well, they've told me this, whether it materialises or not, when they say it will, I don't know, but a week on Wednesday, so that would be in about 10 days, I am supposed to be going down to London to the Queen Square Hospital, which is I think the specialist neurological hospital, the forerunning neurological hospital in the UK, as I understand it, and they'll be doing some other tests. So because CIDP it's not just one thing. I think there's 5 or 6 different things that come under the banner of CDIP. They need to know which one it is, as best they can, to give me the best treatment. So I've looked into the different variants. I haven't spent that much time looking at them, but I'm hoping that the treatment would be more immunoglobulins. I think they seemed to work last time. And I really don't want to be put on the steroids. I've heard they've got some pretty nasty side effects, but obviously if that's what the doctor says is the best thing, then that's what I'll do. So yeah, it's just kind of a waiting game at the moment. A bit of a waiting game. So I want to talk about my current symptoms. I've got some weakness in my legs. I'm very unsteady on my feet. My balance is very poor. The double vision is now at the point where anything further than I'd say a meter at most, maybe 60 centimeters, is blurred and double. If I close one eye, everything's a bit blurred, but there's no double vision, so I can see a lot further away just having one eye open. But yeah, my vision is quite badly deteriorated at the moment. And I just feel very fatigued. Before I went into hospital, I was there was a few days there where I was in bed for like 12 hours a day, like sleeping, not just lying in bed. I was like sleeping, wake up for a bit, fall back sleeping. In hospital, I've been sleeping a lot. Just feel very, very fatigued, very tired. It's very easy to just fall asleep. I've got brain fog. It's quite hard to concentrate. And yeah, I've had lower back pain. I think part of that's because of the lumbar puncture. And reduced sensation in my feet and up my legs. Sort of feel a bit numb. My feet, I just don't have the dexterity I had. I can't really stretch them out properly. And I appear to be dragging my left foot a bit when I lift it up. So I'm lifting my left leg up a lot higher when I'm walking, because the foot, I'm not raising the toe of the foot up properly. So not great. It's been worse. It was worse at its peak when I was diagnosed with GBS. So we'll have to see what happens. So the last thing I want to talk about is my outlook. To be honest, I'm quite positive at the moment. I think there's a decent chance that I'll make maybe not a full recovery, but a decent recovery. I don't know how it's going to go, but we'll see. I've just started today eating healthy. And by that I mean lots of veg, lots of fruit, oily fish, and that's about it really. I'm cutting out the breads, processed sugars, fried food, unhealthy meats. Well, probably all meat actually. I'm going to have some yogurt, but I'm going to be cutting out cheese and milk. And my plan is to exercise as much as I can, as much as my body will allow. Just try and be on my feet quite a lot. I want to try and get good sleep every day, and also I'm going to start meditating. And I'm going to include these as sort of part of the journey in this video diary, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so this is day 3 after diagnosis. See you on the next one maybe. Cheers.